Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. 3M Open, picks, bets, one and done, plus a recap of the Open Championship. Reminder to all of you to smash the like, sub to Mayo Media Network, and play in the Listeners League. The link is now available down in the description. I don't know if we have 2 or 3 more golf Listeners Leagues until 2024, but this is one of them, so let's fill it up as quickly as possible. All right, Geoff Fienberg on the line with me, as is our friend Tim Cust.
Tim Cust.
Not my name.
So, how did you feel about the Open Championship?
Conflicted. I mean, I had a lot of great picks. It was the second major in a row. I feel like I did a really nice job capping. I think, a lot of things went well for me. And I was able to switch sort of some stuff mid-tournament and nail that out of the park. It was pretty clear that Harman had this thing wrapped up Friday afternoon.
When Harman was up by 6 and then you said he was going to win? Is that what you're talking about?
I never wavered. And there were 2 spots where, he
I
went
thought
bogey,
when you meant
bogey.
I thought you meant when you were switching your picks, you were referring to the hole in one, no hole in one that you've tried to play both sides on.
I'm not even going to acknowledge that. I did figure out very early that Harman just wasn't going to lose, and it was so clear. Like both Saturday and Sunday, when he gave up 2 bogeys early, he just made big putts. Like it was just his thing. It made sense too. You guys talked about on the preview show that being a bomber wasn't necessarily an advantage at Liverpool, and Ryan Harman is not a bomber. So he played great, and he rolled it great. What are you going to do? I felt good about Scotty Scheffler doing nothing. I had a good sense that he had no real crack at this thing. He didn't. Hideki finished T13. I think this is like the 5th out of 6 tournaments. My one and done has been like top 15 or better.
That wasn't your one and done, but okay.
Or sorry, he was my number 1 pick. You're right. He wasn't my one and done. He was just my pick to win. You're right. Brooks made the cut, but he didn't make me much money. It was not a great weekend of golf watching. But it was nevertheless, there's something satisfying, I suppose, about seeing the person who absolutely deserves to win it, kill it, and do it in a way that, like, he's probably not going to win another major. I don't think Brian Harman is teed up to win very many major championships. So the fact that he, took advantage of the best opportunity he's ever going to have and won it, and it'll be one of these majors we remember forever as one of those ones where somebody just put their perfect game together. Like, that's kind of cool to see. You don't see that too often, and we congratulate him. He now go. The other thing that I felt great about was that Brian Harman and I think Cameron Young took 2 spots on the Ryder Cup team off the table, and it just further moves Team USA in the direction that I want to see them go.
Well, what do you mean the direction you're rooting against America in the Ryder Cup? So you think that having
Correct.
those 2 on the team? I actually think that weirdly, because we got into this debate in France in 2018 about the guys that they took versus the guys that they should take for the course that they're going to. Weirdly, they may have backdoored into a guy who's a very good course fit for Italy and would not otherwise have been in the conversation.
I think it's an interesting point. When I said the team I want, I mean, I want the 12 guys who are the best. I don't want guys being taken like Finau or Thomas who have no business being on the team. I want to see the U.S. put what I think is their best 12 guys. And I think Cameron Young and Harman have taken spots this weekend for sure.
I think we're still too far out to say for sure on any of this. We still have the entire playoffs to go. Like Harman's going to be
sure. So Harman's not there
Harman's
for sure?
in for sure.
Harman's going to be in on points, so that's not going to be an issue for him. For Cam
Cam
Young.
Young's got a lot of work to do. I said on our Cut Sweat show, I tweeted on Friday that I had bet Europe. I got him at a gutter book at plus 200, and I'm going to re-up on a book with some credit. I'm not brown bagging this thing. And when I lose the bet, it'll just mix in with the Chargers loss on the Sunday, and it'll be fine. But I'm going to re-up at the plus 185 on my streeter because I don't need to place it again. I don't think it gets bigger. I think the line is still reflective of, yes, Pat, you've mentioned they may have backdoored themselves into a better team for the course. But I think some of the books still have numbers out there that are reflective of what we thought the U.S. team could be at Christmas. Like 9 super elites, just like this loaded squad. I just don't think that's it anymore. For a potpourri of reasons, it seems like it's just not that team. I have bet Europe. I don't think it gets higher than like the plus 185s. I've still seen some plus 190s. I think it's the highest number. I'm letting the books sit on my money.
And we would say that Sepp Straka basically insured himself in as well, right?
I would think so, yeah. With a win and now a top top 10 at the Open, then yeah, he's looking pretty good.
Hope so.
I'm really
excited. He played really well. I think he's going to be a very good player for that course. So I'm kind of excited.
He can go unconscious. I mean, he might shoot a 7 over and just like lose his match, but
he was T2. He wasn't top 10. He's T2.
No, the guy can get white hot. Like even before he became this guy that won and then became second in the Open, like he can just go Jonas Blix unconscious for a moment, but can do that way more often. I don't know why that's Jonas Blix, but like Straka can catch an eclipse. What I do love of what's developed on the European team though is the back end does seem like they're just debating like young great kids now between Bobby and obviously Moronk and Aberg and Højgaard. I know, Pat, you might even like Rye this week to make some noise potentially. I just like that it's not like old man also rans at the moment that they'll be debating between.
I think this kind of clearly shows with the Open how anticlimactic it was that we immediately moved on to Ryder Cup talk. But I want to go back to Harman for a second because it's the first major I can think of in a very long time where I took a nap in the final round. Harman made that putt on 14 from like 40 feet, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to nap for 45 minutes, and I set my timer, woke up, and he was walking down the fairway on 18. I was like, all right, I'll watch the end of this. Then I had to go rewind to see what happened with the different placement points. I saw there was like a Rahm putt or a Cam Young putt on 18 that cost someone like 10 grand or something like that. One of the viewers, some of the viewers had fantastic weeks. I was not one of those people. The only thing that I got right, because it was one of the worst weeks I think I've ever had at a major championship in terms of losing money. Matthew Southgate ends up with the top 40. That cashes very easily. Yet I still lose to you, Tim, on our head-to-head with Southgate.
And I recommended Alex Fitzpatrick sort of as a goof, in part because I just thought, I just don't think Southgate's that great. So Can
we say that the reason that you picked Alex Fitzpatrick is because he's the one name that you recognized from down there?
He was a name I recognized. I had heard the story of that happening. So, there's that. What else?
It was Harman's brilliance made it boring. And as golf fans,
once he made that
boring,
putt to go back to 12 under, you could have turned it off.
It's not like he didn't deserve it in runaway fashion, but you can understand, as I saw it was, debated on Twitter and people getting offended when people were calling it like a rubbish Open. It kind of was, in the sense that it was anticlimactic, and we really enjoy when these when there's like a sense of nerviness on the line coming down these major championships, and that we just had none of it. And we like brilliance when it's the form of like a superstar being truly brilliant and running away. But when it's an underdog runaway, that's also silly. And then I saw people fighting back on like, Brian Harman's not an underdog. He does this and this and this. And like, shut up. He's 100 a freaking 1. Okay. Yeah. You want to live by like world golf rankings as determining who's an underdog and who isn't? Like that doesn't work on the context of what we do here. In every sense of the word, Brian Harman to me was an underdog this week.
Of course.
It's kind of suffered from the same problem that the Masters has had the past few goes. Not so much this year because it so much got crammed because of the weather. And you had Brooks versus Rahm with other lingerers around. And then Phil making that run, Reed making that run. That remained pretty interesting the entire time. But like when Scheffler ran away with it, it was just like whatever. When Hideki kind of ran away with it, we were all just praying that Xander would get himself back into the mix. And he tried to. And then he didn't, and there was just no competition down. Like, as you kind of pointed out pre-show, Jeff, like the PGA Championship has just been the major the past few majors.
Tim awoke it. We had our debates like 6 years ago where I was like, no, it's the least relevant major. You could debate its relevance and kids growing up and wanting to win it, but the course selection and whatever's occurred during those weeks, it has been the major that I now almost most look forward to or think we're gonna like. It's almost guaranteed to give us exactly what we want. Fantastic course, winning score respectable, and a leaderboard filled with like superstars or young guns. Like that's sort of what it delivers every year.
We haven't had a bad PGA championship in like nearly 10 years. Like if you go back and back and back and back, I think when Jason Day in 2015 sort of ran away with it at Whistling Straits was the last PGA championship, which wasn't in some way really intriguing. Because remember, Brooks had that huge lead at Bethpage Black, and he nearly gave it all away on Sunday. Like the PGA championship has been by far the most interesting championship the last few years. Doesn't mean it's always the most exciting, but it certainly
Jimmy
was
Walker was a boring runaway, I feel.
Well,
No,
no, it wasn't. Jimmy Walker won by a stroke.
Over day,
okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
That was also ruined by weather. He had to play 36 on the Sunday.
there was also what was it, Bell Reeve, when did Brooks win at Bell Reeve?
Yes, but Tiger made the push.
Yeah,
on
that
it.
was the Tiger.
That was the thing. Tiger, because we had the Tiger crowd. That was the first big Tiger
Yes.
major moment since Tiger's return. That kind of covered up that it wasn't uber competitive.
Yeah, and think of the last 4 years. Morikawa, when there was a 7-way tie for the lead. Phil wins one of the most iconic majors ever. Mito throws one away, and Justin wins in a playoff. And then this year, which was an absolute scorcher down to the finish with Brooks taking the win.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just kind of goes, no matter how much you can like a course, like a tournament, the history of a tournament, it all just kind of comes down to whether or not it's competitive at the end for our viewing pleasure. And I think Geoff is right, though. I think if you insert Rory into the Harman role, it becomes instantly more watchable.
I agree with you. If we'd gotten Sunday's weather more often through the week, I don't know that Harman would have won.
He was pretty good.
He
in that
sort
weather.
of like treaded water. Like he didn't have any scorching rounds the way a couple of guys did. He just got built up, a big lead when the conditions were pretty benign and held on to it. I mean, yesterday's was particularly tough. Tons of guys blew up yesterday.
I mean, and he deserves, as it was well documented.
Oh, yeah.
The incredible like bounce back birdie rate at like four of his 6 bogeys of the week. He answers the bell right away, avoids any sort of train. And Saturday, Sunday, he gives up 2 before we've gotten to the 5th hole. And even yesterday, he makes that great par save on 3. So he's given away 2, and he needed to make a great par save. And you're like, wow, maybe this thing does become the leaky faucet. Weirder things have happened than a guy who's never won a major shooting a 77 in bad conditions on the Sunday of a major, but he wouldn't let it, man. The guy was almost never off the fairway.
Fleetwood was off the fairway when he had to hit his putter or whatever it was sideways for a weird shot in that trap. I'd never seen that before.
Dude, Fleetwood's Weekend, there's a sandwich named after Fleetwood's Weekend. It's called a melt. Like, holy shit, dude. I'm used to it. I expect it. It was literally everything you should expect from Fleetwood in so many ways. But I don't know, man. I don't know. What a and he seemed exhausted, both mentally, physically, like the toll, maybe what they called the home game. And then once you get that first round lead, like Rick, like by some point, it becomes an exhausting task if you haven't pulled away. And the guy couldn't do shit. It was an embarrassment. I was even like a guy who was a fan. And I don't know, to call like a T8 at an Open an embarrassment. I don't know. The weekend was embarrassing, but it was very on brand. So no one's totally shocked. It's like when the Chargers fumbled trying to kneel out a game. Like, okay, that was really weird, but no one's surprised. Did it again.
What doesn't help Harman in this championship is that the guy has zero motion, it seems. He is like the steadiest, most unflappable person you see on the golf course. Which, if he was like getting excited and making big fist pumps, I think that would have brought the crowd up and brought the entertainment up. But that also translates to what you guys said earlier, going to play a road Ryder Cup. That's precisely the type of person who's completely unfazed by the crowds. That might be like perfect.
Oh, and according to Tommy Fleetwood, like the things they were saying to Harman on Saturday were disgusting.
Oh my goodness, I can only imagine.
He said, I will not repeat some of the things I heard out there today. And even
by the
Harman
way,
said
let's make
Saturday,
a PSA though. If you're going to a tournament and you're yelling obscenities or like really nasty things at a golfer just because you bet on somebody else, you shouldn't do that. That's
I don't
wrong.
even think these people have bets. Some of them are just insane people.
Fair enough. I mean, that's also wrong. But if you're there because you just have a ticket on someone else, You don't go there and scream and yell like Happy Gilmore at the other guy. That's not appropriate. Don't do
And
that.
I agree. And people gave me a hard time in my younger days for being like exuberantly supportive of guys. But I would never in a million years heckle heckle a golfer. Like, that's insane. And Harmon, even, I don't know if you saw his post presser, Tim, like said, looking for motivation. Like, did he find it? Like, what motivated? He goes, well, after I made my second bogey on Saturday, walking to the next tee, some dude looked at me and said, "You don't have the stones for this, Harmon." Like, hey, who has the chutzpah to say that to a guy competing in the final group of a, like,
I agree with you.
I wouldn't even have the courage, even if I thought that. I wouldn't even have the guts to look at another man and say that who's competing at the highest level of the sport. Like, who are these people?
They should be escorted off the course and never allowed to attend the Open again.
That'd be a hard thing to enforce, I think.
No, it wouldn't. If you did that at Augusta, you would be escorted off the course and never allowed to attend Augusta again.
How would they even know? You just come back the next year.
Everybody knows who said it. Everyone who was there knows who said it.
No, I mean, how could they,
well?
when they go to another open venue, the like 60-year-old Marshall is going to recognize the dude from Liverpool? Like, I'm just like, where? How do you enforce that?
I don't know.
My friends have been kicked out of Buffalo Bills games, gone outside, bought a ticket, going through another entrance. Like, just hope to not see the one-of-one security guard. Like, you can't enforce that. Unless they really do have the best, like, face recognition tech, but I don't think it's on golf grounds. Like, James Dolan has that shit.
Or, as we pointed out to Tim at one point, casinos also have that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And Tim is worried McDonald's drive-thru has that stuff catching the litterers.
Yeah, throwing their ice at their car like a litter bug.
Well, we talked about how much I lost, but let's talk about some winners. Because I said I was giving away $2,000, and boy, am I giving away $2,000. I emailed the winner this morning. He has 7 days to email me back. It was a newsletter winner. Steve Blair wins $2,000. So you have 7. So hopefully by hearing this, that you will respond to the email. Because I know that some people, when they sign up for newsletters, they do like a throwaway email. They don't necessarily check, because that's what I do for a lot of this stuff. So I'm throwing this out here, Steve. Email me back. You got 7 days. If you do not get back to me, I will draw another winner on this show next week. However, the big part about the giveaways is, well, congratulations on one thing, if you claim your prize, which I hope that you do. I'm sure that the people out there do not want you to claim that prize, is that I want those audio reviews. That's the big thing about doing these giveaways. So I decided that since it was an email winner, not an audio review winner, that I would give out an extra $200, $50 each, to 4 audio reviews that came in historically and this week. So the 4 winners of those, and I'll contact you after the show, at Corley21, at Jason Lofquist, at K McEachran, and at Bobby Big Wheel 9. You each won $50. Yeah, Bobby Big Wheel.
Let's go Big Wheel.
Extra $50. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if it's allowed in the terms and regulations, Pat, but it should almost be the winner of the $2,000 should have only found out they won via watching the show.
That makes it really complicated.
I know. And it's like, you just want people to do the things you're asking. Like, that's really and they did that. And that's what sort of gets the traction. But I don't know. I hope Steve gave a dummy email, but maybe if he watches the show, it's going to be like, banger. Good for you, Steve.
And I can't send you a message on X.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
X going to give it to you. It'll be fine. You pumped about X?
No, but do we have a couple of minutes for a couple of short pop culture things for us to cover before I get out of here?
Sure.
What was your favorite major story of the year? Because for me, it's 1, Scotty Scheffler not winning, and then 2 would be Brooks. And Phil's Masters would probably make my top 5, and Rory not winning.
Do you think that's what Tim meant by his pop culture stuff?
No, but before Tim left, he's a major championship connoisseur. I want to know what his takeaway from the major season is.
That's a great question. One we covered already, which I think the PGA Championship sort of asserted itself this year as at least the equal of all those 3 other championships. There's no more fourth major. They're the equal of all the other 3. The Rahm and the Mickelson story you told. Brooks's meltdown at Augusta and his championship at Oak Hill a month later. Probably the number one story. Rahm getting his second major, the 2 story.
Wild cards at the U.S. Open and
wild cards
Open.
winning 2. Yeah, whatever. Like, I mean, I have my personal reasons for liking Win DC winning, but honestly, those 2 are not that memorable. It's Phil and it's Rory now going a full decade without winning a major again, and the great Scotty Scheffler somehow not winning a major championship.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Akshay won, Jeff. I didn't bet on him. And I bet on him every single week. I bet on him.
Many left-handers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great day for lefties.
Thank you for bringing this up. Maybe it would have come up when these guys' names came up on the 3M board. Patrick Rogers, in the history of melts, I don't know what that counts as. But I think the guy had 30 points through Friday in a Stableford and finished with 40. That in of itself is criminal. On top of that, that might be the worst. No, I still have the worst beat at the Barracuda, Pat. When Super Nintendo Chalmers took my Gary Woodland trophy away somehow, little Chalmers. But then I said I'd never bet Woodland again, and I'm lucky. I'm happy I lied because we were there for that U.S. Open. But yeah, Patrick what a stones from Ashkay. Ashkay should have won the thing by 15 points. Honestly, like he burned edges for 6 straight holes. Rogers gets a bad break, but yeah, props to Ashkay. What was the number? 50, 30? I guess opened at 50, ended at 30. Congrats to everybody.
Yeah, I saw a lot of it. It's funny because people were like, hey, Ashkay won. Here's my Ashkay ticket. And I was like, or Akshay ticket. You're getting me to say Ashkay now. Akshay ticket.
Akshay, sorry.
Yeah, like you're
Short.
incepting that into my head. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm happy that he won. I really like him, and I'm glad that I'm going to be able to see him on tour moving forward. But just, sucks not being there. And then Pearson Coody ended up winning on the Corn Ferry Tour at 80-1 this week. So just a mind fuck for me in terms of
certainly learned several times that someone at Hoy Lake invented Stableford. They didn't tell me that 500 times during the broadcast.
At least they cut it with all the Beatles stuff that they were airing the first 2 days. Tarico just had a big boner for the Beatles the entire first.
You can make 1 or 2 funny references, and then you got to move on, right?
Oh, for sure. They were doing packages, like in vignettes around it.
Yeah, like they started yesterday with a little video, and it was fine to start with. Talk about, the world's most famous lefty, was Paul McCartney, and then here we have Brian Harmon. Like, that's fine. Talk about that for 1 minute as you come on air. And then if you want to cut away to a commercial with your leaderboard being the guys walking across Abbey Road, fine. That's it. That's enough. Let's move on.
Before we move to the pop culture stuff, I did want to give a few shout outs because I said that I would. Matt Wyatt hit the double. I saw our buddy Matt ended up hitting the double as well, but Matt Wyatt hit it. He hit Harmon and he hit Akshay at the Barracuda. That's a nice week to hit 2 winners in 1 week. Andy Wilder hit as well. And Tim, he said that he will put $100 on whoever you pick this week at the 3M and donate it to whatever charity ends up that the fans vote on, whether the fans vote on it, whether you want to vote on it, if it wins.
Go Emiliano Grillo.
Grillo for Cust.
Played well here last time. Played well at the British Open. I like his chances this week.
Yeah, he has, I think, 2 top 10s in his 3 starts at this course. So I like it.
And
so hopefully Grillo can get that done. There was also some huge DraftKings winners from the audience as well. Like Joel Kozak ended up winning $14,000 off of $400 in entries. That's pretty good. Let's see. Brian Harold won the PME Open, so he won a quick $7,500 on that. And let's see, Brent Harris. Brent Harris had quite the week. He won $12,700. He turned 10 into 10,000 in the full round $10 18 max. He won the $3 on it. These were all single entries. He won the mini max on a 50-cent entry. He came 8th in the mini max on out of 118,000 people. Won $200. Won the $3 20 max on a single entry. Won $2,500. And on a single $10 entry, won $10,000. Jeff, that's the dream for a DFS loser like yourself, right?
The absolute dream. The absolute dream. I play the set. I don't win anything. I was again, got my lineups in this week thanks to a friend and was reminded. I'm actually grateful that DFS is still like illegal where I am because I it would just double my losses from the betting every week.
Imagine what a DFS loser you'd be if it was legal and where you lived.
That would be a big one. I'm being spared the right to actually be a real life DFS loser at the moment.
So, Tim, you wanted to talk about the pop culture stuff? Hit us. You got 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's a couple. All right, two things with pop culture. We get through what we get through. The first is I want to talk about the box office. The fact that 2 movies came out this weekend. One had 150 million open. One had like a 90 million open. It was the 4th largest opening weekend in box office history and the largest since 2019. Is it safe to say that despite some of our misgivings, movies are back? If you make good movies that people actually want to go see in the theater, people are not afraid to go to the theaters. They haven't developed a new culture of not going to the theater and streaming at home, that if you make good cinema, people are going to go out to the movies?
No, I don't think so. I think that it is kind of akin to a live event on TV where, let's say, like I think the Oscar ratings were actually up this year. I forget which one it was. It was either up last year or up from this year. But it's still a big event. And even though the ratings are down, that still draws a lot of eyeballs because it's a very special, one time a year, big event. And this happens across the board with a lot of different things. And I think that we got like sort of the perfect storm of 3 really big movies over the past 3 weeks. Like Indiana Jones really didn't do great, but with Barbie and Oppenheimer dropping and the Mission Impossible movie coming out, you have these giant spectacle movies, and all 3 of them appear to be very good as well. That really helps. But I think if you're making a $20 million adult drama, like there's just no place for that. People aren't showing up for that at the box office, no matter how good that it's going to be. It has to be something that has to be watched on a big screen, which wasn't always the case, let's say like 20 years ago with like the return to the box office where you could get $1 Million Baby making $100 million. Like that's just impossible now.
And you don't need to see $1 Million Baby in the theaters. Like, I don't think your viewing experience is any worse at home on your high definition smart TVs than in the theaters. But if like you make the Super Mario Brothers movie, or you make Barbie or Oppenheimer or Mission Impossible, which are all different types of movies in a sense. If you make movies that people, and maybe this is where movies will have to go, you have to make movies that people actually want to go to the theater for. But if you do it, people will still get up and go to the movie theaters.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. And Oppenheimer is a very special case with all of this because it's a story that people kind of know. They know the macro theme of the entire movie, but it's a big spectacle movie from a director that people really like, and it made a ton of money. But everything else is some sort of franchise type movie, and it's the first Barbie movie, just like how Mario was, made by far the most money of any movie this year. But there's a lot of brand recognition with Mario and Barbie. So Oppenheimer is kind of like its own case off to the right, where it's an original adult drama. Everything else is just, it's no different than the Marvel movies, really.
You're right. Now, the big Ridley Scott film coming out in December, the Napoleon movie, I guess that'll be a good test case for it as well then, because
I would agree.
That does really well at the box office.
I don't think that's going to move the needle like these ones.
I don't think so either.
I don't know. It could be a content thing where there's a lack of movies at the theater because of the strike. That whatever's in the can and made.
But the strike hasn't affected any movies coming out yet.
But it's going to at some point soon, right? Yes. Like it's just going to have an effect. My only thought was like that there was a lot of people with good justification. I think we probably talked around it on this show in various ways that there's a lot of people who have gotten into that we thought had gotten into the habit of not going to the movies. And it's if you don't exercise that muscle of going to the movies, then you just stop going and you don't care. But getting the 4th largest box office of all time this weekend made me think, well, maybe that's not as true as I thought or that I feared. That actually there's still an impulse. There's a heartstring being tugged for a lot of people of all ages to come back to the movies when it makes sense to do so.
But how has the box office been doing up to this point would be a question I had, because it seemed like a lot of people made this weekend an event to go see 1 or 2 of these movies, even double features of Barbie and Oppenheimer. And the Barbie thing just became like a pop culture movement that groups of people would go see this movie.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a very fair point. I think that Top Gun Maverick did really well.
That came out last year.
Yeah, in terms of like
phenomenal.
In terms of like people going to the actual theaters to see something.
Tom Cruise is maybe like one of like I don't even know who the others are, but there's less than like 3 movie stars left alive, like true.
That can open a movie, yeah.
But if Tom Cruise wasn't starring in these big franchise movies, which he has a past association with, he just released an adult drama, that's not going to open.
Probably right, Pat.
So if he
Anyway,
made,
it gave me some hope.
If he made like some sort of spin-off of Eyes Wide Shut 2 or something like that, that's not going to do well.
Lions for Lambs too.
What was the other? Valkyrie.
Yeah, Barbie's become
Valkyrie's
a-
actually a good movie.
Is it?
Yeah, I thought so.
You saw Barbie?
No, I said that was, we were talking about something very different. No, I haven't seen Barbie. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it. I just need to see Oppenheimer this week first.
You're not going to go in your black jeans, black shirt, and with your notebook, are you?
No. Now we've moved from pop culture to very online culture, very seamlessly. Good job, Jeff. People who get that reference get it. People who don't. I would be opposed to seeing that movie because it's full of stars. Like I'm the type of person who likes to see any movie that if it's full of stars, good or bad. I watch the Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve movies because they're full of stars. That's all it takes for me. You put people in a movie I've heard of, I'm going to probably watch it.
Did you have anything else pop culture wise?
I was going to ask you about X.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't
understand it. I don't know what the purpose is. It just Meta? Is it just like changing Facebook to Meta, changing Twitter to X? I don't understand what the rebranding does for anything.
Yeah, I don't quite get it either, but I also don't care.
Well, I don't care, but it's weird. And I don't understand. You don't do something like this for no reason.
I have no real thoughts on it. Like, it doesn't seem like anything has changed.
Not me either, but some people are reporting that. It's just I don't understand where we're going with this. I don't understand why do companies who have tremendous, SEO value on their names change their names? I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's a branding thing that really doesn't make any sense to me because it's one of the most well-known brands going, especially even the logo. The Twitter logo makes a lot of sense, and now it's just an X. Maybe it's all just a part of Musk's idea to get everything under this X label, and it's I really have.
We even saw it this week at golf, where the RNA has decided that this tournament's name is now the Open, not the Open Championship, not the British Open, God forbid, just the Open, and it's always all the packaging and everything only refers, and it's that's kind of dumb. No one calls it. Very few people just call it the Open. You hear the Open Championship, or you hear all kinds of different names, and they're trying to force people to call it something that is unnatural.
I do enjoy every year that when I always label everything the British Open for
SEO.
It's purely for SEO purposes because most of my viewership and readership is coming from North America where it is known as the British Open. And if I called it, because I did call it the Open Championship one year and I saw a drastic decrease in numbers. And when I put it back up to British Open, the numbers went back up again. I even tested it out side by side, show by show, which normally draw similar type of numbers, and one did way better than the other. So I've just always call it the British Open in terms of SEO. I mean, I like calling it the Open Championship, but UK people get very upset if you say that.
That's nice. It's good to have real things to get upset about. I mean, who am I to talk?
But anyway, that's pretty rich coming from you.
I have a lot of first world problems I like to complain about too. But anyway.
All right, before we let you go, what should we do now that major season is over? I'm getting back into football. Ross Tucker coming on the program for tomorrow. And then obviously Tambo will be in studio before he heads to Minnesota for the 3M, for the Fantasy Golf World Championships on DraftKings. Congrats to everyone who made it to the live final. It's going to be a ton of fun. I went to the first year of the tournament in Minnesota at TPC Twin Cities, and it was a blast. I just hang out on 18, air conditioning, get to see the final hole, par 5. A lot of excitement going on. Suggestion from me, do not follow around Andrew Landry or Martin Trainer or Satoshi Kodaira, the three people that I followed around. I followed around Luke List for a while, too. That was a lot of fun. But what are we doing for football? Pre-season? We'll do the win total show. Should we do the quarterback ranking show again?
I am open to talking about anything football whenever you want.
Are we not doing a Hard Knocks show?
When does Hard Knocks start?
August 8th or 9th. Here's the problem. I don't know how Tim's going to watch it.
This is my concern.
One of you are going to have to
I don't have the Max.
Is it only on Max?
No,
it's not on regular
even on
HBO?
in Canada though. Sometimes it's not even on our HBO that we get in Canada if you subscribe to it, or Max. So someone's going to have to send Tim a burner link, and he's going to be afraid, and I don't know what sort of hoops you guys are going to have to jump through down there.
I'm going to have to send away for the script of the show. The way back in 1997, you could write YTV and get the teleplay for the episode of Reboot you just watched. That's essentially what we're going to have to do here.
I'll try to talk to a few people to see if I can get screeners, and then that link will be secure, Tim, and you can watch it on your computer. I'll try to get those, and then we can probably get them ahead of airing.
Okay, that's understandable. I
So
like that.
If we can do that, maybe we'll do it. If not, I was thinking those three, that will cover 3 weeks worth of content, or maybe we go win totals back to back during the final week. Maybe we rank 1 through 32 our power rankings of teams entering the season, and then we make an aggregate. Then we talk about that.
Sure, we could do that too.
Titans over the Jets because they're throwback jerseys. Is my take.
Oh, I think the throwbacks look perfectly nice. I just don't like when they're wearing them. They're wearing them against the Bills and Chiefs in their 2 biggest primetime games of the year to start. Seems like a weird way to use those throwbacks, but whatever. I mean, it's also a weird throwback because they never really had any success in those jerseys. That was never really. Anyway, I don't care. Put them in anything you want. From what I saw this week on Twitter from camp, I saw some throws that like 3 other quarterbacks in football can make. That Aaron was throwing in there. Lazard is going to be so good.
Lazard.
His addition to this team is going to be one of these things where it's a game changer. Where it's like last year with the Chargers, Keenan Allen wasn't their best receiver, but number 5 was their most important receiver for the Chargers, even though he wasn't their best receiver. Yeah, Palmer was their most important receiver in a lot of those games, even though he's nowhere close to being their best receiver.
Well, because the other guys were hurt. Like, what are you talking
But like,
about?
even when the other guys weren't hurt, they were going to him in big spots.
I like
he
Josh
he was a
Palmer.
linchpin player last year, but even though no one would say he's their best receiver, that'd be foolish. He was a critical player in games for the Chargers last year. Lazard is going to be like that. When the chips are down, he is going to get open. He is going to make catches. He's going to probably be a Pro Bowler if the Jets have any Pro Bowlers, and you don't get any if you go to the Super Bowl, so maybe they won't have, but maybe he won't be.
I don't understand this Alan Lazard to Josh Palmer comp. It seems very strange, and you'll be very disappointed if, like, I like Josh Palmer a lot. He's from down the road here. That's a weird out of nowhere comp. I don't know whether you're trolling.
A critical player for your team. I really think that when he plays well, the Chargers play excellently.
But
the Chargers have a bomb squad now?
Chargers do have a bomb squad. I would love to take them all the way to the AFC Championship, and I might.
What are you doing?
I might, because I expect the Chiefs to really take a step back this season. And so somebody's got to sort of step into the void.
Barty told me that they're your week 1 suicide eliminator pick versus Miami. So you've killed me already, Tim.
I don't know how I don't pick you against Miami. Talk about a team that is overrated, that everybody's writing about the dark horse MVP candidate that is Tua. And everyone's talking about how the Dolphins have the fastest receivers you've ever seen and the best running backs you've ever seen. And this team is going to the Super Bowl. And they're so good.
Who said they were going to the Hold on. Who said they were going to the Super Bowl?
Everybody, all over the place. Everyone's Dolphins.
Is this the same as Matthew Southgate is going to win the Open Championship? Which you still have you still have not provided one shred of evidence that anyone ever said that?
I heard it all over the place. My point is, everyone is nuts about the Miami Dolphins.
Well, they got the. You might have the bomb squad, but they have the Zoom room.
That's nice. If the Chargers have the defensive backs they're supposed to have, then they should disassemble that Dolphins team week 1. And they've had all this time to prepare for them. I expect that. I'm not calling a shutout. I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to say like a 27-3 style game is on tap for that Chargers Dolphins game week 1. I expect the Dolphins just to do nothing. I'm very excited for that game.
I told you I was going to support. I'm supporting you this year, Tim.
And I'm supporting you. Can't we support each other until that one Monday Night Football game?
If Tua's healthy, the Dolphins are winning the division.
There you go. Another person who's just absolutely taken leave of their senses. I just got a text now from people talking about the Dolphins as the kings of the AFC. I can't get away from it. Everywhere I turn, it's Dolphins. I feel like, what's her name? Jan from the Brady Bunch. Marsha. That's how I feel right now. I can't get away. The Dolphins are the most overrated team I have heard people talk about in years. And they're not that good. And they're...
Jeff,
you know what? Fine.
Jeff,
believe the nonsense you want to believe. I don't care. The Jets are better at every position, essentially.
Jeff, did you know? Yeah. Do you know what Jeff is or what Tim is talking about when everyone is talking about the Dolphins?
His dad and a couple of your friends?
No, it's he in our text thread. Now that his embargo of posting Jet stuff is over, he just posts Jet stuff every single day. So we have a friend in our group chat that anything positive about the Dolphins that gets tweeted out or any sort of story, he just dumps it in the thread just to troll Tim. And now Tim thinks that's everyone in the world. That's one guy.
I'm getting a non-stop barrage of Dolphins comments
From the same guy.
but he's just like the news. He's like the BBC. He's just curating for me all of this nonsense of people. Yeah, I hate that thing too. I hate that thing. Well, I can't. It's my year. They're not allowed to steal it from me. I will not stand for it. I will not stand for it. You better destroy them week 1, Jeff. I want them gone. I'm putting that on you. You need to absolutely finish that season. I want you to shut them out. I want them to be embarrassed week 1. I want all this Miami hype to be done. You can do that for me. You can accomplish that.
It's a big game. It's worth a game and a half because I think they're in the wild card division race. And if they don't win the division, it's worth a game and a half because I suspect the Chargers will be competitive in their division with everyone but Kansas City.
I like your chances. Not against my team. I think you're a cup below me, but I still think your team is pretty darn good.
Okay, well, we will move on to the 3M Open right after we say goodbye to Tim Cust.
That's not my name. It's just nonsense. They have to sit around here and listen to the Dolphins. People go on and on and on and on about this team. This team that blew a playoff game against a Buffalo team that didn't even want to be there, didn't know how to properly manage how to run the ball late. A team full of receivers who, okay, yeah, Tyreek Hill is good, but he's also old, and so we'll see how good he is this year. He's probably going to lose a step. And Waddle, who just gets dump offs, and I'm supposed to pretend like all the large receptions that he has are somehow got to do with Tua dumping it off. And they go ahead and they sign a washed up cornerback. And I saw the other day a ranking where they had him 3rd overall in cornerbacks. Like he's barely the 3rd best cornerback on his team. I don't even like Xavier Howard.
Yeah, that's a ranking from NFL executives. Like guys
I think that's
in front
nonsense.
offices.
That's nonsense. Ramsey was given away for a song. You don't give away the 3rd best cornerback in football for like a 3rd overall pick.
Rams at a liquidation.
Pick. Oh, please. I actually kind of like the Rams this year a little bit. Anyway, that's just a bunch of nonsense. And so for me to sit around and have to listen to how great the Dolphins, it's really upsetting when this offseason is supposed to be about me and what my team is doing for the first time in forever. And I feel like the Dolphins are just trying to steal the attention that is rightfully and duly mine. Sorry, just it annoys me.
Why is it his?
It is mine.
What about the season that was your year? But
it got ruined last year.
Yeah, so is every season just supposed to be? That's a real main character energy, pal.
I just want one. I just want one.
But you want it every year.
This is it's unjust that the Dolphins, who haven't done anything impressive in my mind, are stealing all the attention away.
But you just said
Tua was a dark horse MVP candidate. Oh yeah, dark horse MVP. Yeah, that's going to happen.
Who tweeted that one? Was it like Dolphins Tua fans 69 on Twitter?
I can't even imagine going behind enemy lines to go on the Reddit page to just imagine what it's like there. I haven't been able to steal myself.
Why are Dolphin fans allowed to be excited? Like, why can't they have the same enthusiasm that you do? Their team's
because they don't deserve it.
Why do you deserve it?
Because I just brought over, one of the best quarterbacks of all time onto my team.
You mean minor league? You mean minor league Kirk Cousins, according to you?
That was before he won 2 MVPs in the last 3 years.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No,
it was.
In the middle of an MVP season.
It was in the middle of his second MVP season.
Some of us change our opinions when the facts change. What do? You
mean
that's his new go-to?
His go-to.
That's how he gets him.
It's not even a real thing. When a player gets traded to his favorite team, all of a sudden they're 300% better.
Alan Lazard is going to be so good. And I think Randall Cobb is going to make a difference too. You'll see. I'm very excited about this. And so instead of talking about interesting and fun players, I have to sit around and listen to whatever it is that the Dolphins are doing. Like, oh yeah,
people talk about the Dolphins, interesting and fun players.
I just can't, man. Just beat them 30-0 on opening day.
The Dolphins are loaded with interesting and fun players, though.
Oh yeah, they're so amazing. Yeah, they're so great.
It'll be great when the Dolphins go 2-15, but they only beat the Jets, and then the Jets don't make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, that would just be a laugh riot.
It would be pretty funny.
Sorry, I didn't want to hijack this about the Dolphins. It just annoys me to know
We're
it.
not even on the show anymore. I already signed you out.
That's fine. I don't need to be on the show. I'm just expressing to you all my feelings about this season and how I feel like the Dolphins and their fans are stealing the attention that should be mine.
You just did a mini show.
Well, it wasn't intentional. It's just I haven't had any forums to talk about this in a while, and it's been really bothering me. And like, I'm not going to take the live show or cut sweats that we're on. I'm not going to, turn that into, Jets Dolphins therapy. But it's just I felt like we needed to have a conversation about it. I feel much better now having spoken my truth.
Your truth, not the truth. Your
truth. The truth as I see it, which is
your
all
truth.
I could ever really do.
Which is really your truth. So you're living your truth again. We're back to that.
No, it's just expressing things as I see them.
Did you use this pop culture thing as a way to
No.
get us here?
No, not at all. I just wanted to talk about the movies for a couple of minutes and then get out because I thought we owed the fans that. I had no intention. Pat brought up football. It was on the way out. He's like, well, what are we going to do for content? I didn't talk about football.
Yeah, you just wanted a scheduling idea.
Yeah, and then people went nuts about the Dolphins.
You went nuts about the Dolphins?
Well, just they're not very good.
That was a well-timed text. I'm on that thread too, and the text comes in. Really threw you over the edge.
Well, it's just I don't need to look at that.
Well, why do you think that we need to look at jet shit all day long from you?
Because it's cool and exciting.
No.
Yeah, we're really into that.
I would be.
No, we have a thing in my group chat, you're not allowed to turn it. I'm not allowed to turn it into Chargers radio. My buddy's not allowed to turn it into Titans radio. That just doesn't happen. And if you try to, you'll get no one cares. Unless it's a breaking news or something.
Well, I don't really care about the Dolphin stuff. I'm not going to let it
really
bother me. It's just a question of I don't need to see all this.
You're not going to let it bother you? It sounds like you're pretty hot and bothered.
I can't stand that snowman either. It's so arrogant.
How can you just say after whatever just happened over the last 12 minutes that you will not let the Dolphins bother you?
Well, I'm not going to let them get me off my game. I'm not going to let them throw me off and think that, the Jets are actually in tough. I still believe all the things I believe. It's not going to change my opinions on what I think is a very underachieving Dolphins team.
Okay.
Not going to get me going on that.
No, you're not going to get you going at all, huh? You got yourself going.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't get myself going. I'm just righteously upset about a couple of things, and that text came in. I'm not going to let it get to me, but I just wanted to get it out there, express the truth, was that the Dolphins are the most overrated team in the NFL.
Well, hot and bothered takes coming from Tim and Cust.
Tim and Cust.
And yes, that is that crazy person's name. 3M Open from TPC Twin Cities. To look at the overview, I talked about this a little bit on the research show, Jeff, but to take the overview, I think it was EPAT who pointed it out, that it just looks like, from the sky, a random Florida course because there's so much water here.
That's definitely been one of the takeaways there for a few times. A lot of hazards. Guys are going to go super low, but we're going to see guys just catch 4 landmines.
Yeah, because I remember betting on DJ that one time, and I think he shot 80 in the first round. And then there was that tournament that everyone bet on EVR. Remember that?
That was the first year here. I was part of that.
Me too. Sure. And he put it into the water 9 times or something. That wasn't
the
fun.
Golden Gopher.
Yeah, hometown guy from South Africa. He's going to kill this course. Diving for fucking golf balls after. You need one of those super extended reachers to get his balls out of the water. Anyway, we made a bet on Finau to win this tournament 4 months ago, whatever it was, at 20-1, knowing that the number wouldn't be as large coming in. And it's not as large. He's still the betting favorite at 12-1. He's not even playing good golf right now. Then you have Cam Young at 14, all at DraftKings Sportsbook, by the way. Hideki's 18. Justin Thomas is 20-1. So is Sung Jae. And then you got Griot at 28. Tim's pick, his one and done. And then Seb Straka at 30-1. It's a pretty, because it's top 70 in ties at the FedEx Cup this year, guys do need to play themselves into the playoffs, or at least secure themselves some of these bigger names. So I think that the top of this tournament looks a little bit better than we were expecting, but it's just all outside of Cameron Young, who is starting to become in pretty good form after the John Deere, after the Open. The rest of these guys kind of struggle bus right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we debated last week, how well Hideki is playing. I'm really confused why he's here. I wouldn't quantify him for the struggle bus, but you are absolutely right, Pat. And in many ways, Justin Thomas, I am not betting it. I've seen it as high as 25, and I'm telling you, it'll be higher with like enhanced no placements. Once this thing gets through the Monday morning crush. But he is in many ways like the ideal guy I'd like to bet the week after a major in a shitty field. Like he's got to be hyper motivated. He hasn't won in forever, but I don't care. That's red ink. And it would be Cam Young, but you got to maybe debate, his fatigue or, just being in the grind. Certainly he didn't like backdoor his way into it. He was fully, in the mix for, yes, Harman ran away, but the guy did go off in the final group. So he's mentally been in that grind. I don't love much here. We have our Finau 20-1s. I'm happy we made it 4 months ago. I don't know if you have it also, but next week we'll be in the same spot with the Tom Kims.
I don't have
the Wyndham.
I don't have the Tom Kims. Is Tom Kim even going to play after this ankle thing?
Okay, yeah, that's another thing. That sucks. That would suck because he's ripe for the picking. I'm not sure. Seems kind of healthy. He's playing good golf. I don't love any of these guys. If I trusted Cam Young, maybe. But this has been a weird we had Finau win here at 12-1, then everything else over 150 in the 4 years we've been here, right?
I think Wolf was 100-1 the year that he won. He beat Morikawa and Bryson by a stroke the first year.
Yeah.
And I think Michael Thompson was only like 80-1 that year. It was a really weak field that year. Either way,
I mean, maybe this is where Sungjae shows up, but I don't know if you can trust him right now.
No, I don't know if you can either, although he rebounded pretty nicely at the Open. At least Thomas and Finau got the early flight back to Minnesota. Maybe Hideki's pretty firmly entrenched. Maybe he wants to get himself up in the standings to ensure a second round of the playoffs because he's not inside the top 50 right now. He's behind like Brandon Wu and Ben Ann and Taylor Montgomery and guys and Nick Hardy and Davis Riley. I guess they won an event together. Hayden Buckley is ahead of him. Patrick Rogers is ahead of Hideki in the standings right now. So maybe he just wants to get some points. I would have thought he would have played the Wyndham over this, but maybe Hideki's secretly from St. Paul, Minnesota, and we just don't know.
I have no idea. But Hideki has really, he's been a staple, has he not, Pat, in the pre and post major events? And I know a couple of them have been elevated, but I feel like you'd think, why is he doing this? And he continues to play in them. So that's good for him. And
I was going to say, he did not play before the Open. He didn't play in the Scottish, so he's playing this week. Coming out of the U.S. Open, everyone kind of played the Travelers. He skipped Colonial coming out of the PGH. I guess Heritage and Travelers were the week after a major, so everyone kind of played in those.
Yeah, and we've had Fitz one out of the Heritage, but we had two long shots, right? And in those other two out of majors where you can maybe take advantage of the top of the field. And this is a top of the field, certainly willing that you can take advantage of. The problem is the next tier, you don't get Mark Hubbard at 100-1. You got to bet him at 50. You got to bet JJ Spawn at 45-1. That's what you're interested in. So that card construction, I'm going up north this weekend. Beautiful weekend up in the cottages. I don't even know if I'm going to watch a second of this, but I'd love to tune in Sunday, have some ticket. And Griot, of the guys that you mentioned off the top here, Pat, I saw him open at like a 35, and I've seen him as low now at 22 in some places. So of every one of like the guys at the top, Griot clearly has moved the most.
Well, you say that in real time. I'm just watching the odd shift. When I opened the page, when we started this discussion, Sungjae was at 22. He's now down to 18. He's now the same as Matsuyama, and he had opened deeper than Justin Thomas did. So it seems like Sungjae, at least early on, is attracting a lot of money. I just don't think Finau is going to attract a lot of money at 12-1. I don't even know if I feel good about betting him at 12-1. 20-1. it seems fair for him in this field, and these are the type of events that he has played well in. He won Houston, he won this, he won Detroit, he won Mexico. These are similar fields to those. Plus, I mean, he was in the stretch he kind of gagged it away against Michael Thompson 2 years ago. He comes back with a win. Hopefully he can get his act together because he's not playing good golf right now. It's just funny to me that Griot is the one being bet and not Straka.
That Griot is, that is Griot. Listen, I hit the Griot Colonial. If he's a twice a year winner, I'll just have to live with myself. Like, I'm just not betting on that aspect of the universe.
Okay. Well,
I agree. The Straka numbers seem I didn't bet it this morning and I saw it as high as 40. And I'm like, that is fair. And relative to the guy he's priced around, I was like creating this whole well, that's kind of disrespectful to Straka to be priced above Ludwig, but I don't care. I think there's a conversation to be had there. But I agree, Straka probably deserves to be in that crew.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I want to fade them though.
You want to fade them? I mean, I want to fade them too, which really means that the final leaderboard is going to be like Sung Jae, Justin Thomas, Griot, or something like that. Hopefully, Griot wins and we get to donate $2,000 to charity or something.
Yeah, and I'm not so much speaking about the fading Sung Jae, or I am not betting JT, but I'm just not here for Griot and Straka after lovely weekends overseas.
Okay. 30 to 100 is the next range, and this is where the main guys at the top of this, Straka's at 30, then you have Woodland, Jagger, Thigala, Aberg are all 35, Mitchell and Rogers coming off the playoff loss at the Barracuda are all 40, Spawn, Cam Davis, Hostler, and Hadwin and Mark Hubbard are all 45. Vince Norman just won the Barbasol 2 weeks ago, put in a good run, I believe, at the Barracuda. He's 50, Poston's there. Ryan Fox and Nikolai Højgaard and Batia are all 50 to 1, along with Aaron Rye as well. And then you're into the rest of them. I've made some bets in this area. Is there anyone you wanted to particularly sell me on? I know that Aaron Rye is going to be a very popular pick this week. Probably not going to get there, although I could still be talked into it. Do I just go back to backing Akshay coming off of a win to see how that goes? The two I actually had interest in were Fox and Højgaard, just because I think that talent-wise, they're better than these guys.
So I am swimming. I got a few stars around a bunch of names here. Those are a couple of them. I saw Fox as high as 75 to 1. Pat. I
saw that as well.
Now that doesn't come with placings. I know people like the placing, so they probably might want to play that shorter. But I was in on that. It seems like a lovely course fit for Ryan Fox. Just make the 4-footers, and I think he can contend. I also really like Højgaard. Saw that 50-55. You mentioned playing the ceiling. I'm a sucker for that. Aaron Rye will 100% be popular. Have you thought about Hadwin at all this week?
I thought about Hadwin immediately, and then I saw his course history is getting baked into his number a lot right now. I mean, he just missed the cut at the John Deere when I bet on him. I wanted a much bigger number than 45. I wanted like 80 on Hadwin, which was probably unrealistic, but that's where I wanted to make that bet. I don't like him. Listen, I don't think that Cam Davis is going to win. I think that Cam Davis has a better chance of winning.
You're probably right. I'm just in my head of, I don't know, I thought Rocket was like not really a Hadwin track, and it was soft and it worked out perfectly for him in many sense. And then we got those early 30 to 1s or 30 to 1s that showed up late in the John Deere, and he was absolutely horrible. I don't think this is horror. I'm swimming around the 50s on Hadwin, and I just want to have the conversation because it's a conversation piece right now, like an artwork. The Ludwig 35 to 1 is the biggest number I have seen. Now, it doesn't really seem fair, although he was 22 at the John Deere, and I would argue this is a much better course fit for him. It can suit him better. But what would Ludwig's number be where you would have already bet it? 50, 45?
50 probably.
Would you have bet it at 45? Would you be thinking about it?
I would think about it, but it wouldn't be like an auto click for me.
Yeah, see, for me, it's 40. Like if he was 40, I would have clicked it.
Well, if he
But
is an auto click for you at 40 and he's 35, then you're betting on it. Just you can say that.
See, that's sort of where I'm going. Like if it was 42, it would have been boom. Wouldn't have wasted a second. Would have sat on that toilet 6:30 this morning, already made the bet. So yeah, I feel like an idiot, like not having bet the 35, but I haven't seen any love for him this week. So I'm hoping that someone can bump it for me. But if I see it going the other direction, I might have to act really quick. Really quick. But you nailed it off the top. It was Højgaard and Fox, who were my favorites between 50 and 100, well, 50s in that 50 to 75 range.
Yeah, so I opened with 4 bets, all between 65 and 90. I have 4 of them jammed in there to go along with Finau. Just guys I've been riding for a while, and I want to bet some of my I had a favorite just win, and I didn't have money on him. If a long shot is going to win this week, I want to be on board with that. So I went with Glover, like a lot of people, at 65 to 1. Hopefully the blip that he had on the weekend in Kentucky at the Barbasol with the putter isn't going to rematerialize, because he switched putters, putted fantastically, and then he lost almost a stroke putting and still came 5th, I think, at the Barbasol. But the driving, the approach was immaculate. I just need him to get back on the positive side of putting, and he has been very good 2 of the past 3 tournaments. So hopefully he can get that back. He's at 65. And I actually bet Taylor Pendrith at 65 to 1 as well. For someone who has rallied against him most of the year because he was not good, he's actually starting to flash the form that got him onto the President's Cup team again last year. So 2 tournaments in a row. The elite driving has been back, albeit against weaker fields, but this is a weaker field. 14th the Rocket Mortgage, 6th the Barbasol, but the big thing is the approach play is back. Like it was almost sort of like a Cam Young situation with Pendrith, where Cam Young was struggling a lot because he was putting like crap and his driving numbers weren't elite like they had been. He went from gaining 5.5, 6 strokes off the tee to 2.5, 3. And that's a lot when that is your primary weapon. It's, again, like when Justin Thomas or Colin Morikawa don't gain 8 to 9 strokes on approach and they gain 4. Well, you've really taken away their ceiling, because that's what they do better than anyone else. Like if Denny McPutts doesn't gain 8 strokes putting, he's probably not going to be very good, like he was at the Open Championship. But with Pendrith now, he's back to driving the ball at an elite level, 4.5, 2.4 between the last 2 tournaments, but he gained over 5 strokes on approach at Rocket Mortgage, 4 at the Barbasol. If he can continue to do that and continue to gain with the putter, I think he's very live in this tournament, and he's been kind of forgotten about, weirdly, the moment he actually starts playing well.
So he even joked that, like, there's this thing, he starts lighting up in July. Like, for some reason, another year, he finds himself in July, starts his form of great golf that, as you mentioned, got him on the President's Cup team. What are you seeing that? 65 to 1?
65 to 1.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that one bit. I'm a fan of Pendrith. Probably bet him too much while he was slumping. I thought, well, in front of 100, I thought for sure, Pat, you were going to mention Doug Gim.
Well,
in your lead up.
Well, I've told you I bet on 4 players. I told you 2 of them.
Okay.
Would you like to know the other 2? If you had to guess, Pat Mayo's betting his favorites inside 100 to 1. Who do you think the other 2 are going to be?
Okay, so obviously I nailed the Doug Gim, and let me think of the other one. You said 65 above. Is Bezadenhout a weird guess? I wouldn't think of him as one of your favorites.
No, but you're in the right country.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Yeah. Good call. Higo. Good call. Yeah, I could see that. Totally.
So DraftKings has him at 75 to 1. Same number as Sam Bennett, Taylor Montgomery, and Custy Pete. But I ended up grabbing a 90 on Garrick Higo and a 90 on the Gim Reaper, and I played those both with 8 placements as well. I didn't play placements with Glover and Pendrith because I did the extended to get the better number on them. But Higo and Gim, 90 to 1 with 8 places apiece for me.
I like that a lot. I'm just trying to find how big of a number I could see on Higo, but
I think 90 is probably 90 might be the top of the market. I don't know. And the thing with Pendrith, when I looked at it, like I did my very short term rankings on Fantasy National. I think I released. I don't think I shrunk the sample size down as much on the research show. I think I did 24 and 50. I shrunk it down to 12. It just gave me absolute like jabroni names at the top. Pendrith is inside the top 10, with Lucas Glover being far and away like the number one ranked player in the field over the very short term. Now, the strokes gained metrics from the Open, only strokes gained total, are actually factored into that. So, he's beaten up on Barbasol and John Deere and crap like that. So in the short term, those guys are going to look a lot better than the actual good players in the field.
Philip Rivers has 100 with placings.
Okay, then you should get in on it.
And 125 if you don't want any placings.
Yeah, I kind of want placings.
Yeah, I could get that. Another guy we've kind of skipped over here that I think seems, at least from the Twitter world, was as popular as Ryder this morning was people want to go back to Austin Eckroat. Like they felt it was coming. It went bad at a very popular moment. Was that Detroit?
Yeah.
And I think we all joke like Detroit and the 3M might be the absolute perfect places for him. So I could see why people who failed in Detroit don't want to get off the wagon here.
I understand that, and I was on for the Rocket Mortgage as well, but one thing, he did make the cut in Scotland and ended up just kind of giving it back. Did he play the Barracuda?
I don't think so. He would have been near the favorites.
Yeah, no, most definitely he would have. But this kind of started to go sideways for him when you look into the numbers a little bit at the Travelers. Now, he still came 24th at the Travelers, but he lost over 2.5 strokes on approach, gained almost 6 on the greens, and that really made up for the poor iron play. Then he gets to Rocket Mortgage and loses again with his irons and putts poorly, and therefore he ends up missing the cut. Obviously, he ended up losing on approach at the Genesis too. So that's 3 straight tournaments where he's lost on approach, where that was kind of, at the U.S. Open, he gained 4.5. When he came second in Texas, he gained 4.5. At Colonial, gained 2.6 and was gaining a bunch off the tee. That started to revert a little bit. And we see that at this time of year, that guys who were hot for 2 months kind of flip back the other way and normalize. And guys almost like Pendrith, like you mentioned, there's a few other ones. Glover's doing the same right now, that they've gotten hot, and we'll see how long this can last. It does seem like Eckroat has fizzled out a little bit. And in this field, listen, he can most definitely win. That's not what I'm saying. But it does seem statistically like he's reverting back to the guy that he was earlier on in the year, and that his hot streak might be over.
That all seems very possible. I'm not there. I didn't pull the trigger on the 80s that I think are still out there.
Eric Cole was the other one that I wanted to give a look to. But I don't know yet.
And the complete opposite of that, it would be Cameron Champ.
Yeah, former winner.
Former winner. I get, yeah, it's supposed to be so hot that they're expecting thunderstorms.
Is that the
Lots
case?
of them.
I thought in Minnesota, someone told me it was going to be like 100 degrees and no rain.
Oh. Maybe I got that wrong. We usually gets that humid. There's some thunderstorms to break it up, but I'm not sure if you prefer. I guess haven't all the winners here been pretty long hitters? Although we've seen short hitters like Morikawa loses in a playoff. We've seen guys hang around here just fine, hold their own.
Yeah,
I mentioned the Hadwin course history.
Yeah, Griot and Hadwin both have good course histories. I think Shez actually has a decent. What are Shez's odds this week?
100, I thought I said.
Yeah, 100 to 1. That's not a terrible play either. Listen, elite driving, long and straight, is going to get the job done most of the time over short and straight or long and wobbly off the tee. And even Cam Champ, like I feel like I remember him like taking out 2 irons on the holes and playing it that way. I don't remember. I could be misremembering that because I think he hooked it on 18 into the woods and made a great shot out of it coming down the stretch. But his putter was just absolute fire. Like Finau is the only one who's won this without their putter being absolutely scorching. So, go ahead.
No, yeah, let's get to the hundreds because I'll make the point there.
Yeah, 100 to 1. The only one that I went with was Trevor Cohn, who was another one of those jabronis who just popped up inside the top 3 for me in terms of overall ranking this week. He's been very good the past 2 tournaments. No idea if it's real or not, but he's 350 to 1. So I played that with 8 places.
I hadn't even thought about Trevor Cohn here, but that seems like a pretty good number for him and his skill set here.
Yeah,
and the fact that he's probably feeling good about his game.
Well, I don't know about that. He just finished dead last of all players who made the cut at the Barracuda. So there's that. Maybe it's over for him. But he was third at the Barbasol and just had a great ball striking week at the John Deere, had a very good driving week at the Rocket Mortgage, came in 40th. So if the approach play continues to be on for him, like the driver is usually not really a question, and then he has these like hot and cold putting streaks, so you have to hope for a hot putting week. Around the green, he's absolutely god-awful. He might as well be me around the greens. But if the irons continue to be hot and he can match that with another good driving week, I mean, he's 350 to 1. I don't expect him to win, but it seems like of all of those guys at the bottom, he has a modicum of hope of getting to the top of the leaderboard.
And yeah, I saw your boy Carl Youn, 200. He's playing kind of decent, and he was good here last year, I recall.
Was he? I don't remember.
I feel like I looked at the wrong leaderboard. But
let's see, Crazy Carl won. He's never played in this tournament.
Now I feel stupid.
Lee Hodges was one that I went on the research show popped up that he just gained. He basically putted himself out of the tournament last year, and he still came in T16. So if he could run a hot putter, then who knows? Got anything else from above 100 to 1?
No, now I'm really phased to see what I was looking at.
Do you think that Carl Wan is James Hahn? Because James Hahn came in 4th.
Maybe. That would be bad. James Hahn got hot coming home yesterday.
He did.
In the CUDA. Well, it's a guy you often make fun of me when I mention, but he could be a nice little fit here would be and hey, it's been a good little run for the Georgia boys. Grayson Sig.
Are you going to bet on Grayson Sig?
He had a top 10 here last year. He had a couple low rounds.
Are you going to bet on Grayson Sig?
I don't know that I'm betting anyone over 100 to 1.
Okay.
Because I like too many guys in that block in the middle, which is probably just dead man's land. Like it's probably gonna be a favorite or a super bomb. But all my money gets sucked up into this like dead zone of the middle. By the way,
Sig missed the cut at the Barracuda.
Shot a second round 64.
Still missed the cut.
That's embarrassing.
Well, I bet on a guy who was minus 20 at one point on Thursday and finished at 17. So I can't really talk.
I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah,
also, I really hope Cam is back on Ryan Fox this week because I feel like he took unfair heat for how. Like, I hope people that made fun of Cam on Thursday apologize to him for how, if you made fun of him specifically because of Ryan Fox, you owe Cam an apology.
Ryan Fox, I mean, Paul and Cody talk about this all the time on Dogger Pass with UFC guys. Like, they like to back guys who really go down on their sword, fight for your money. Ryan Fox fought for Cam's money this week.
So true.
Sig's
like, I'll take Patrick Reed. He's going to cheat for my money.
Yeah, he's going
to
cheat.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's going to cheat. Like that's exactly what I want. As long as he doesn't get caught, we're looking good with money on Patrick Reed. Sig is actually before missing the cut at the Barracuda, and maybe that 64 is something nice. He was 13th at John Deere, 19th at the Travelers. You mentioned his top, was it 20, top 10 here last year. Made the cut at the Rocket Mortgage, made the cut in Canada, and the approach play has been really good for him after a month or so of very poor approach play and like 3 months of very poor putting. He seems to have rectified that man, maybe you're right. Maybe he is someone you should give a look to.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. I've bet him that if that putter can be an X factor, I feel like not even betting because I don't really bet Grayson Sig, but when I make my handful of DFS loser lineups, I'm a sucker for this guy. And I don't know, some Sea Island inspiration at the moment.
Okay.
They should just bring all of the Sea Island crew to the Ryder Cup. You know, Harmon and Patton won a team event once. People were joking. Got to get Patton there with them.
What was it at, like the Sea Island Club that they won the event? They beat Kisner and Scott Brown.
It might have been. I don't.
Can you?
I don't have a
Can you
clue.
believe? Like, if this is just, it's not shocking based on the way that it's gone, but there's two guys who have won this year, who are 110 to 1 and 130 to 1. Mac Hughes is 130 to 1. Billy Horschel is 110 to 1.
I'd bet Mac before I'd bet Billy.
I would too, but that's so crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. You look at this field strength. That does seem like it's a bit unnecessary, but I don't really like. My eyes went right through both of them. Billy stuck out. I saw that. It was like 108 to 1 at the book I was looking at, but I didn't even think about clicking it for a moment.
Yeah, maybe this will be more of a DraftKings thing, like you said, but Troy Merritt is 180 to 1. So is Carson Young, two guys that I just enjoy to bet on. So we'll see what we end up doing down there. Let's get to the one and done and the quick picks. Quick picks for me. I got Finau at 20. Pendrith and Glover both at 65 by themselves. Higo and Gim at 90 with 8 places. And Trevor Cohn, 350 to 1 with 8 places as well. That might do it for me. Højgaard, Fox, Cole, maybe someone in that range, but maybe not at the same time. I just lost a lot of money. Maybe I need to trim it down a little bit this week. And for one and done, I'm going with Finau as my one and done.
Okay, I'll probably need that paper for my one and done.
I'm looking at it right now.
I don't have a clue, but the bets I made a 75 Ryan Fox. I made a 55 Nikolai Højgaard. I'm looking at Hadwin. I'm looking at Aberg. And there was probably someone else who I'm looking at. I could easily be talked into Pendrith, so I love that you are feeling that one. But like you, I took a bath last week, Pat, and I'm going up north, and I don't know, might just be dipping my toe in the pool. And obviously, like you, we got those like 4-month-old repeat winner Finau futures, which are a great number, but I don't know how great I feel about Finau at the moment.
Yeah, I don't feel great about him either, but if I'm going to use him anywhere, I might as well use him here for one and done. Cust took Griot. I'm going away this weekend as well with my family. We're taking the kids to like a resort where they can play mini golf and go swimming. So I don't know how much I'm going to be watching at this. Or maybe this is what I do to go get away from them. Or I'll just stream it on my phone as I'm poolside. Who knows? But I do like this tournament a lot. Maybe it's because I've been to it. I like the course a lot. It's a lot of fun. But Finau for me,
Griot. You've played the course, haven't you?
I didn't play this course, no.
Oh.
Because the PGA...
so you just went... when you're in Minnesota, you're playing Hazeltine.
Yes, but I couldn't play the course because the PGA was playing the course when I was there. Yes,
that hit me... That link came after I said it. That didn't happen.
So the guy that updates
give me Aberg.
You haven't taken Aberg yet? I don't know. The guy who updates the one and done sheet hasn't updated it in 6 weeks. So we're missing the last 6 weeks of picks. I don't even know what the standings are at this point. Cust is winning, but I have no idea by how much.
Would I have taken Aberg in? I didn't take him in John Deere. What was the one before that I loved? The Rocket.
I can manually go do this and look back at it. Let's take a look here.
If I didn't take him at the Rocket, he's free from me.
If you didn't take him at the Rocket Mortgage, all right, let me pull up a Rocket Mortgage. Bloop. See, subscribe to the newsletter. You can go back and see all of our shitty picks. No, you took Cam Davis.
Yeah, so I'll take Ludwig.
Ludwig van Aberg?
Yeah, how many more starts does he have? 2, right?
Cust took him at the John Deere.
He's not in the FedEx Cup.
And no, I don't believe so. Bhatia is now in the FedEx Cup because he earned his like permanent membership with the win. So he's like 50th in the FedEx Cup standings.
Good for him. He seems like, I mean, obviously winning, but it seems like a very likable guy.
100%. Love the guy. So Aberg for you. So Finau, Aberg, and Griot. And if Griot wins, thanks to our friend, I believe it was Matt who put, no, it wasn't Matt who put it out. I completely forget who it was. Whoever said on Twitter they put $100 after hitting the double on everything this weekend, that, hey, maybe it'd be a nice boost for charity if Griot could win. I would be willing to concede the one and done to Tim if Griot wins, which we would have to because I think he'd be almost uncatchable at that point. But it'd be a nice boost for charity.
I have not a cent on Griot, but I will find myself easily cheering for him if a fan out there is going to donate $8K to charity and be under Tim's name.
When you say 7-8K, it's $100 on Grio. Where do you get? What do you think? 70 to 1?
I thought he said 300. I thought I heard 300.
No.
Okay, that's just as nice. 100 is beautiful.
Doesn't sound like you think it's very nice. You think the guy's
No, it
cheaping
is.
out.
Any gesture is nice. I don't know where I heard 300 in that discourse, but obviously I'm morning after majors. I don't know. I'm not in a good way. Clearly,
All right. Well,
I handled myself better than Tim because I hope you aired that whole rant.
oh yeah, I most definitely aired that whole rant. Just kept it rolling.
Okay.
That was fun. It gets me excited for football season. I was feeling pretty down after the Open Championship because it was like not only not exciting, I lost a bunch of money, but I woke up this morning, I was like, you know what? We only got a few more golf tournaments left. I love golf. This is going to be fun. And we just have fun football shows that I won't get burnt out onto until like the last week of October or something like that. So that'll be fun too.
I'm here for all of it.
That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Smash the like, sub to the newsletter and the YouTube channel on the way out. Congratulations to everyone who won money at the Open Championship and won money on the giveaways for the week. We'll be running back some giveaways for week 1 of football. And go to runthesims.com if you want to make your own projections, completely free right now. So I'd highly recommend that you go check that out and play in the Listeners League. It's open right now. It's down in the description. So let's fill it up. Thank you all for watching. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!